Hello, welcome back to Hunter Tuned. Haven't been making videos because I've been kind of busy, but I did get my EK hatch all torn apart here. I got the transmission back out of the car, and I also got it disassembled here to kind of see what went wrong with the car when we went drag racing the last couple days. When we went on Friday, we ended up snapping something, and I didn't know what it was. Both the axles were still connected, so I didn't think it was an axle. So I proceeded to tear this thing apart and ended up finding a broken intermediate shaft. So this is the intermediate shaft that was out of the car, and as you can see, it broke clean off, like very clean break. So that is junk. I got another replacement here that I'm going to throw in. So just going to swap all this out, but in the meantime I wanted to take the transmission apart and kind of see how healthy everything was. And these gear stacks are getting a little bit worn out. Let me see if I can show you guys. Hopefully you can see it on camera or not. But that's like the engagement teeth for fourth gear or third gear. And there's fourth there. So they're getting chewed up a little bit. So I'm thinking that's part of the reason why I can't hit gears very good. Second gear is also on here. And second gear is also getting kind of chewed up. So I may have to actually end up replacing some of these engagement teeth. But for the time being, the car really did still go into gear just fine. I'm probably just going to throw it back together for now. At least go for a couple track days yet before I have to go through and replace all the engagement teeth, which I don't want to do now because I don't want to spend the money on it. Also, this clutch could be a big issue of mine. Being a 6-puck, it doesn't disengage as fast. So I think that also could be another reason why this thing is not going into gear like it should. I'm half tempted to throw my 4-puck disc in, the XTD disc right here, because this disc isn't all that bad. I mean, it's worn down a little bit, but it's not nothing crazy. I only ran it for like 500 miles or something like that, but it did slip a little. So I may throw that disc in with this pressure plate and see if it holds. And if it does, I feel like it'd be the best of both worlds. I'd have a good pressure plate, and then I'd have a disc that disengages fast enough for me to wide open throttle shift this thing. So anyways, I'm gonna get all this stuff back thrown together today. I have a bunch of transmission rebuild videos on my channel already. If you guys haven't seen those, you should go check them out. But yeah, so I also got a bunch of parts that I'm kind of liquidating. If you guys are interested in anything, I have a bunch of odds and ends kind of stuff. I have a bunch of ECUs, obviously. I mean, here's 1, 2, 3, 4. I have a bunch of OBD-O stuff here. So if anybody needs like an OBD-O computer, I have a bunch of good stock ones here. Some of these are chipped and junk, but I have a bunch of like PM6s and PR3s and PM7 and PM5 or whatever all these OBD0 ones are. And then I also have a bunch of OBD1 computers here. Yeah, so I have chipped ECUs and stuff. I have like factory H22, P07, P13, P06, P28, P05, you name it. So if anybody needs ECU stuff, let me know. I guess I'm just trying to get rid of a lot of this stuff. I have a bunch of like random plug wires here. Like this is a brand new Taylor plug wire set. Brand new MSD wires there. I got some gauge pods. These are like just regular pod pillars. I got a couple of those. I got a 3-pod pillar right here. I got NGK blue wires. I got whole bushing kits here. These are like mounts for, I think these are for like a DSM or something. Eclipse motor mount insert. So yeah, if anybody needs these, let me know. I'll sell them pretty cheap. I got 2 of those Eclipse ones. Yeah, these are Eclipse motor mounts. These are all like insert mounts for like Integra or Civic. So these ones just insert into the factory mount and kind of beef up your factory engine mount. These are all brand new in the box for like Civics and Integras. I have a couple lower control arm kits too, so like the front end bushings and all that. I'm probably going to keep some of that stuff, but I have a bunch of mount inserts, and yeah, like these are the front shock bushings. I might keep these. I don't know, we'll see. But I have a bunch of mount inserts and all that, so yeah, anybody needs that stuff, let me know. I also have some exhaust stuff here. I don't know if any of you are even really local to me or not, but I have a Skunk 2 Mega Power muffler, a Gretty muffler, DC B-Series header, test pipes, shifters here. I got a couple short throws. This is a dual bend, this is a single bend. I got some lightweight pulleys if anybody wants those. These are like lightweight shit I would never run, but yeah. Just trying to liquidate, I guess. Clean up some stuff, do some spring cleaning. I also have a bunch of engine parts, so like oil pumps, rear main seals, windage trays, anything, water pipes, thermostat housings, water pumps, you name it. I'm trying to sell some of this stuff to gather some money so I can buy a dyno. I just got back from Madison yesterday, and I was talking with a buddy of mine that has a dyno for sale, and I need to come up with 10 grand. If I can come up with some money, get a couple grand rolling in here, and get enough to go buy this dyno. I also just looked at a shop today, so trying to get the ball rolling here for Hunter Tuned and try to keep moving forward and keep excelling. So that's my goal here. I want to get a shop, obviously, so I can store my cars and I don't have to store them at my house and, you know, literally clutter my yard and park in the grass and shit. So like all these cars are parked in the grass so much that the grass and the lawn is totally ruined. So I don't have the room for all the cars and stuff that I deal with all the time. So even when I'm doing customer stuff, I can't take on a lot of the work because I don't have the room. So yeah, like I said, I need to get the ball rolling here, get a place to work on stuff better than here, and get a frickin' dyno, because I want to start dynoing my cars and maybe dynoing other people's cars and tuning more. So yeah, help me reach my goal, guys. That would be really awesome. I got a bunch of injectors and stuff for sale still selling turbos. I just talked to Varen about the Bosch 210s too. I had a couple people I talked to about this already, but I'm trying to sell the Bosch 210s that Varen offers for LS cars and make a kit to put them in 4 cylinders. So this would be like an extremely good budget 2100 cc for guys that are trying to shoot for a lot of horsepower on a 4-cylinder. Like closer to 800, 900 horsepower these injectors will probably support on E85 with all the other proper mods and stuff. They'd probably be a really good budget injector, and they're a good name brand, proven, they work good, and they'll probably be like 350 bucks compared to a lot of guys that are selling 2200s or whatever. I mean, 550, 600. So these will be like damn near half the price. So yeah, I'm just kind of giving you guys a little update here on what I'm doing. But yeah, if anybody needs some parts and stuff, let me know. Like I said, I'm just trying to gather some money so can keep the ball rolling. All right, guys, so a little change of pace now. I'm actually heading over to a buddy's house. We put flex fuel injectors in his car a long time ago. I feel like I have a couple videos of his car. It's the Cobweb covered Civic, if you look it up on my channel. I'm heading over to his place right now, and he has some issues with his car. He hasn't driven it barely at all. It's been sitting for like a couple years, and he drives it like once in a blue moon kind of thing. And he hasn't really been driving it because he said there's some issues with it. So we're just gonna go check it out and see if we can fix his car and get it back up and running. So yeah, I'll pick up when we get to his place. Hi there, Pop. Okay, so we ended up coming over to my buddy's house, and he fired this thing up. Hang on, I'll demonstrate what was wrong. You got the key in this thing? We'll check it out, see what went wrong. So he said that it's been misfiring and stumbling a little bit. So fired it up, and it kind of sounds like this. You can probably hear it on the exhaust. She's got a dead miss. So yeah. So what I did is I just started pulling injectors one at a time. He's got the flex fuel ones, and I pulled one. That made a difference. Pulled one, that made a difference. And then when I pulled this one, it didn't make any change. So what I ended up doing was looking at the pins on the actual plug, and the pins were actually pushed back on this plug. So I just pushed them back in, and voila, the engine just roars to life. Now it sounds good. Now that's how a Honda should sound. Now, if you guys don't know about this car, it has a built single cam. It has a Y8, no, it has a Y7 bottom end, Z6 crank, custom length rods by Terra Pistons, stock head, but it has valve springs and retainers from Brian Crower, and then a Comp 59 500 camshaft. And then it has an unknown big old turbo, I don't know what it is, but just log manifold, big turbine housing. Yeah, this thing could make a lot of power, but it's obviously clearly just a sleeper. That's what he wants, so that's what we're kind of sticking with here. This is the car that we kind of learned a lot about these single cams with. I think this is like the 4th bottom end that we put into this car over the last like 5 years, and he had some issues where we spun bearings time and time again. So we finally figured out that the Y7 and Y8 crankshafts do not work, and you have to use a Z6 crank because they have better oiling and you know, keeps the bottom end lubricated properly. So this thing's been running great ever since we put the Z6 crank in it, minus the little issues with injectors and whatnot. He had some map sensor issues. The car's just been kind of a headache, man. But oh well. Hopefully she'll be good now that we fixed the injector. Probably take it for a little test drive and see how everything is.
Damn it.
Okay guys, so I am back at home now and I'm just working on the transmission that was in my hatch, and I tore it all down and I'm kind of inspecting everything and checking out all these gears and synchros and everything just to make sure that this thing is as best as it can be before I go and throw it back into the car. I did notice on a lot of these gears before I even tore the input shaft apart. This is the input shaft, all bare. I already tore it apart, like I said, and like I said, I'm just going through a lot of these gears and making sure they're not completely wasted. These engagement teeth are worn quite a bit, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to limit the car from, you know, working. And like I said, it's been working for quite a while now. It's just when I switched that clutch, I kind of noticed more issues with this thing. So I'm just going through and kind of cleaning up the transmission as best as I can. This synchro ring on this 3rd gear synchro is actually pretty flattened. Hopefully you guys can see that, but this is flattened pretty bad. This is the 4th gear synchro, and you can compare the synchro rings, which is the little ring that goes above the teeth there, and you can see on the 3rd gear one here, it is flat, and this one is a nice round shape yet. That synchro ring will actually limit you from going into gear smoothly. So I'm just going to kind of clean this up. Also on the back side of the synchro here is, it has a bunch of burrs on it. I don't know if you can see it on camera or not, but there is a bunch of burrs on the back of the synchro. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the synchro to my bench grinder here, and I'm just going to get rid of the burrs on the back of the synchro. And I'm also going to do the same with the 4th gear synchro here. I'm just going to take it to the bench grinder and kind of knock the burrs off of this thing with the wire wheel. Alright guys, so I'm back working on the case now. I got the input and counter shafts all back together. I didn't really go over a lot of it in video because I have done it in the past. I may do another one soon. I'll probably be pulling this thing back out in a week anyways. But I'm going to just put this back together. First is the differential, obviously. This thing just kind of pops right in here. There we go, differential's installed. This one's kind of loose in here. I think that's just because none of the other gears are in here. I've never really had them this loose before. or like the bearing's not seated or something. I don't know. We're gonna throw the rest of it together though and see how it feels afterwards. Alright guys, so the trick here is to get all 3 shift forks lined up. So we're gonna put the first shift fork on the bottom, the medium one in the second spot, and then the top one on the top slot. And then you want to pop it all into neutral. So move the first and second gear slider into neutral so you can see both synchros. Same with third and fourth. You want to move it so you can see both synchros. And then fifth gear, want to make sure that one's off of there too. And then all the forks will line up how they're supposed to. They'll all line up with each other. And then you take the whole stacks. So both of the stacks like this. And you want to just kind of line it all up at once. This takes some practice. But once you do it a couple times, it's not so bad. Yeah, see, I'm still a rookie. So you got to line up the shift forks in the holes. And then line up the counter shaft and the main shaft. Try to get it to all slide together and pop in. Okay, so all my forks are in. I think we just got to get it to line up on the counter shaft. Just like so. Look at that. Alright, so now I have the shift selector that I need to put back in. This guy is a little bit tricky as well. You want to you got to line up the bottom. There's 2 little forks on the bottom that line up with the shifter. And then the top 3 here line up with the shift forks. So I usually try to line up everything at once again. Give it a nudge and it's in. So like I said, I've done these Honda transmissions quite a bit. But when I first started doing them, it definitely took a little bit of practice. So don't get discouraged if you guys are trying to do this. It definitely doesn't come overnight. You got to play with a couple of these transmissions to actually get it down. Like I said, I'm still not the greatest with it, but I am a lot better than I was. So I feel like I can do them confidently now. Okay, so now that the shift selector's bolted in, it's just got 3 bolts there. We're just going to pop this reverse gear in, and this just has a little pin on it that lines up with the pin hole in the case. So we'll pop that guy in. There it goes. And then this little arm thing needs to go under the gear and then get bolted into the case right here. So we'll get this tightened down, and then that's all she wrote, boys. Then we just got to put the case back on. Alright, and finally we can just pop the case on. I'm just going to test fit this before I RTV it and kind of demonstrate how to do it quick for you guys. So there's going to be a tab on the input shaft that needs to face backwards in order to, actually it needs to face forward, my bad. I usually line this up like in between the 2 top bell housing bolts, and it works pretty good. And just kind of pop this guy on quick. Just like that. There it goes. So sometimes when you put these cases together, the bearing will get stuck in the top of the case and you have to hit it, you know, just give it a couple light taps. I ended up just pulling the case off, pushing the bearing into the case, and then going to reseat it. And got it pretty much all the way seated by moving the shifter back and forth. That seems to help. You know, just popping it forward and backward, and you could see the case kind of drop right back on. And now we can take the snap ring on the top here and open it up with a needle nose, and then tap it the rest of the way down. Alright guys, so I just got my transmission back into the car, And had to muscle it in a few times because it wouldn't actually seat onto the motor. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I ended up pinching my frickin' clutch line in between the bell housing and the motor. Stupid mistake. I guess that's what I get for working on cars at 2 in the morning. But I'm fucking beat because I muscled this thing in and out of here 3 times without a jack or anything. So yeah, that sucks that the clutch line got fucked up, but I'll go get a new one made tomorrow, I suppose, and finish it up. All I gotta do is throw the axles in, and this thing's all good to go, and then get that clutch line. So yeah, we're probably we might go test it out tomorrow. I'm not sure what I got planned. I got some customer stuff coming up, and dealing with all this shop stuff. I'm trying to get into this new shop, and I'm hoping that the budget is there and everything else. I'm kind of taking a gamble here and hoping I'm gonna make some money if I get the shop. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't backfire, because I realistically would like this space a lot. It's already like commercially zoned and whatever, so if I get a dyno, I can be as loud as I want and I don't have to worry about anything. So that'll be awesome. But yeah, anyways, I'm saving my pennies up, and hopefully we can get the ball rolling, keep it moving, keep it snowballing, and hopefully YouTube does the same thing. So yeah, if you guys like the video, please like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications for when I post new videos. And yeah, me and Mr. Corona here will have a good night. Hopefully you guys have a good night as well, and we will see you in the next video. Have a good one.